What do this jewel and this smartphone have in common? Both are tools of knowledge diffusion, civic participation, and human connection in societal systems built on reason, law, and communication, the pillars of what we call Western civilization. The idea of Western Civ isn't just about Europe's past, it's about the frameworks that shape how we govern, think, and innovate today. Hello, fellow historians. I'm Andrae Henderson, and today I'm talking about why this concept of Western civilization, with all its triumphs and troubles, still matters today, politically, scientifically, and economically. Politically, while the precise delineation of the term Western civilization is debated, many of the institutions we take for granted have roots in what is typically called the Western tradition. Think rule of law, law of the land, representative government, individual rights, and property rights. As Peters argues in his 2023 article, the Western canon underpins America's founding principles and constitutional order. The Western tradition, these ideas fused into a durable political DNA, and when we face modern challenges like populism or authoritarianism, or when we hear of, quote, threats to our democracy, we're really testing those inherited institutions. Recently, in the two-party system in the United States, both sides have accused the other of authoritarian moves, and it really shows our inherited concern and values. Understanding the Western roots helps us defend and, when needed, reform our own system. Scientifically, the processes of inquiry and the scientific method frequently associated with the scientific revolution in the West continue to drive innovation and technology today. The conviction that truth is discoverable through reason and evidence gave rise to the scientific revolution, and this tradition of rational inquiry still fuels research today in natural sciences, social sciences like history, and applied sciences. Every time we crowdsource data or peer review research, we're living out that legacy. Economically, Protestant ideas of vocation, work ethic, and discipline helped form the spirit of capitalism, and the rise of capitalism, industrialization, and modern finance all grew from Western intellectual and institutional roots like property rights and contractual law. This system still structures how nations define prosperity, how they measure progress, and how they pursue wealth. Locke's property rights and Adam Smith's invisible hand in the free market became the language of global exchange, literally and figuratively. And interestingly, language was a key feature in Hannan's Inventing Freedom reading this week. So Western civilization's most pervasive legacy may be language, but second is economics, as we have come to define first and third worlds, or developed versus developing countries. The same systems that built prosperity, though, also created deep inequalities through institutions like slavery and racism. These institutions contradicted the ideals of some of the fundamental elements of Western Civ. Economist Kenneth Taylor from Villanova University asserts that the West is actually in decline as he cites growing economic gaps, growing discontent with representative government, and growing population environmental concerns. Although he's not the first doomsday economist, it is an interesting take. The study of Western Civ has been criticized on a number of fronts, accused of biases like presenting a Eurocentric view only and ignoring non-Western contributions. Recognizing both sides, though, the contradictions of the West allows us to engage in current debates today with knowledge and hopefully wisdom. A word on religion's role. Like our faith is interwoven through our lives, Christianity, especially Protestantism, is interwoven through the West. Even within the faith itself, though, we see overlap of principles and patterns of thought and behavior, like questioning authority or promoting literacy and learning in order to better access the gospel and improve lives. That brings me full circle to the jewel. The Alfred Jewel is believed to be a reading pointer distributed to bishops throughout his kingdom by Alfred the Great, King of Wessex. Alfred commissioned translations of religious texts from Latin to English, and it is believed that he distributed some of those texts to bishops along with reading pointers like the one seen. Although Alfred was Catholic and his rule preceded the Protestant Reformation, his efforts to make the Bible more accessible seems to be echoed centuries later in colonial British America. The Alfred Jewel is currently held at the University of Oxford Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, UK, and admission is free if you're interested. While some of these ideas may have been shared by other civilizations, I believe it is the combination of these ideas and events that led the West to what it is today. Western civilization is an inheritance, for better or worse. Rights we claim, the science we trust, and the economies we depend on. To study it, the West, is not necessarily to glorify the past, but to understand the present and inform our choices for the future. Thanks for watching.